Hello ladies and gentlemen, along to the 2017 N.O.R.L F1 2017 Championship. My name is Toby Byrne and I will be commentating this lovely race for you this evening. But first off, we are going through qualifying right now as the guys are getting set up to go do their qualifying, much like the real life F1. I'm sure you're all familiar with what the likes of qualifying are and how they work. So let's just go through this. If you do not know much about qualifying, the basis is simple. The guys have got 12 minutes to go out and set the fastest lap times that they can, and the guys who set the fastest lap times will start on the grid in corresponding order. But I'm sure if you're watching this video, then there's a very high chance indeed that you already know what is going on in qualifying. So here we are, taking a look at N.O.R.L, who is the first out on track, I believe. This is his out lap, as we can pop up and down the grid. Norfolk Blue, and we've got, who else is on an out lap? We've got Gareth Lennon, G991. Nemesis Racing, N.O.R.L, Maverick, Galactic Skull and Ninja. So these, you can see on your screen there who's on an out lap and who's staying in the pits, and the guys usually just like to get out on track as soon as possible, and when they get out as soon as possible they could try get as many laps as possible in the qualifying session, so they can try get a rhythm going, learn a bit more about the track and the qualifying conditions, and they can go from there. So, having a look, let's take a look with N.O.R.L, who's about to start his flying lap. We will watch on board with N.O.R.L on the start of his flying lap, and as we are watching, we will run you through what the championship looks like right now. It is JD7 who leads the championship right now, but as of this point, he's not here. So a potential DNS. He's still got, obviously, he's got 9 and a bit minutes still until the race gets underway. But as it stands, he will be looking at a did not start a DNS. So as we run down the field and look at this man, this is the next man on the circuit who will be looking to take full advantage of this, because he is in second place in the championship. Only by 5 points is this man, Maverick DC88, a very great driver, a very good driver who's shown his talents in multiple series, and he is second in the championship. Next up is Chazza in third, again another potential DNS as it stands currently at this moment in time, but like I said, they do have 8 3/4 minutes to get here. Third is KB Killerzone, but we believe he is withdrawn from the series, and then after him is the man himself, Norfolk Blue. So as we take a look with N.O.R.L, he's coming off to finish his flying lap right about now, and we will see him come through the final chicane. He takes a tight apex into the first one, then gets a good exit on the second one, a little bit of oversteer on the exit as he comes around the final corner. We can see Gareth Lennon's actually set the fastest provisional lap time, but what is N.O.R.L going to do? Is he going to smash that? I believe he will. That would be my guess. No, he doesn't. So Gareth Lennon is the GLA991, aka, is currently the fastest. We get a new fastest lap then from Anil Tanovich on the soft compound tyre, which is the softest compound available for this weekend. He will take the time by an impressive 1 second, so provisional pole for Anil Tanovich, but you've got to be careful not to get too excited about these first couple of lap times, because these are the first laps, and usually the fast laps don't come until the second lap. But as I said, that Callum Spencer disproves my theory straight away and goes fastest, followed by Paddy Brick by just under 0.5 of a second. Paddy Brick overtakes Callum Spencer on that one. So looking around the grid, let's see who we can see. We can see this is GLA991, and he has got a Renault behind him, and I'm thinking these guys may be both on a fast lap, so I don't actually. Gareth Lennon looks like he's going quite slow. It looks like he's cursing toward the pit lane. Is that going to affect Nemesis Racing, Valerio Campagnari at all? We'll have to see as we come into the final lap. They've got a bit of a sound glitch, I think, with Valeria's car. He may have an issue actually as he's going to come into the pits. Potentially an issue going on with Valeria right now, either that or Sam. We got a yellow flag in sector 2, and I believe that may have been Galactic Skull 2 just having a little momentary off-track excursion. So with the first laps completed, the provisional pole goes to Paddy Brick ahead of Callum, J. Spencer and Maverick. We've got another yellow flag in the area. We've got Paddy Brick has actually retired from the session. Has Paddy Brick had an accident? He has! Paddy Brick on provisional pole has had an accident here in the second sector and is out of qualifying currently. Oh my goodness! That is incredible. Paddy Brick is out. As Norfolk Blue 1234 will take provisional pole, but our man who is currently in second is out of qualifying. Absolutely magnificent stuff. Wow, what a shock turn of events. Unbelievable. Crazy things indeed. So that is quite a substantial thing that has happened as the guys start getting ready for their second lap. Ragnar up in fourth. That's a memorable shout, a good result for Ragnar as it stands right now. We're looking with Maverick. Is he coming to finish another lap? Because this could be a potential pole lap from the man in second place in the championship. He comes into the final apex as a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2, but nothing from... Oh, and speaking of Ragnar, he's had a little bit of a spin in the gravel on the outside of turns 4, I believe that. Oh, and another spin, and he loses a bit of his front wing. Absolute nightmare stuff going on for Ragnar 184 for the Renault team right now. So as he's come out of that gravel trap, he's still had really dirty tyres, tried to get on the power too early, pushed it, and wow, he's absolutely thrown it. Wow, Ragnar, tough stuff for Ragnar then. We look as most of the guys in the pit lane. Is there anyone out on the lap right now? I believe Mika, 98, a new driver at Ferrari, being signed by Ferrari for the remainder of the season due to the other Ferrari driver being unable to attend. I was all the way down in P7 right now, but it looks like he is on a lap now. We will ride on board with him through the quick chicane. He takes quite a lot of liberty with the chicane through there, and we wouldn't be surprised if he got a warning or even a lap invalid for doing that. As he comes through there, he's off the racing line a bit on the entry. Not sure if that's his preferred racing line, but you can see on his delta there, he's 2.4 seconds off the pole position time, and that is only just quicker. So I think he's only just quicker than his PB right now is Mika. So we'll have to see if he continues on this lap. It looks like he is going to. He's going to come into the pit lane, and so he is not going to participate on that final lap then, as we come around the next corner to find who's this. This is GL8991. He's going to be coming through the final chicane now. Is this going to be a lap for Gareth Lennon? It might just be. So we will watch the man coming down the start-finish straight. Is this going to be the start of a lap? He's got his teammate in Galactic Skull 2 following, maybe a little bit of slipstream tactics going on, but it looks like this is the start of a new lap for GL8991. So as we look at the grid, it's currently Norfolk has an impressive pole time provisionally right now of about 9/10 of a second over Paddy Brick, who has actually DNF'd in this session already. Absolutely incredible scenes, and wow, it looks like he may have had an issue as Gareth Lennon, because he looked like he backed off a little bit there, but he's continuing. He might have just had a little bit of a slow first sector. We will continue watching with this man. So we follow him through the chicane, and he comes up to the next corner into the second DRS zone. He will want to get on the power as soon as he can in 7th gear. The DRS goes on, short shifts up into 8th, downshifting at the 100 meter board, down to 3rd gear as the gear that Gareth has chosen, temporarily down into 2nd, up through the gears once again. These cars get very, very feisty on the gears, and there is a yellow flag in sector 2 briefly, and I believe again that was for Galactic Skull 2. So Galactic Skull 2 finding it a bit difficult in these conditions. So as we see, Gareth Lennon is going to come around and finish his lap. Is this going to be an improvement on his lap time? It is. It's a 1:20.2. That's a decent lap time, and somehow Galactic Skull 2, even with his little bit of a mistake, improves as well. So it shows that there's some good pace in there. The two Red Bull boys coming out line of stern. If we can just get a shot of that, just stand by. Coming out line of stern there. Was Nibbler ahead of Maverick. Maverick actually immediately backed off to give some room to himself, but that's someone we've got to watch out for, is Nibbler, because he has actually a lot faster than his time is represented, as we had about 1 minute 1 minute 35 seconds remaining in the session to the end of this qualifying, as we are watching a very slow going Renault now. What's going on here? There's a bit of a slow issue going on with, is that a puncture? Look at the gravel and stuff that's throwing up, and he goes onto the MotoGP circuit. So an issue is, or is he just trying to stay out of the way? But I think there's an issue with Valerio Campagnari here. He's trying his best to get out of the way, but he may have actually ran out of fuel as Valerio. So this is quite an issue as he comes up on his teammate who now gets out of the way. So a little bit of miscoordination going on through the Renault guys, because as they're trying to all get out of each other's way, again, it looks like Ragnar may have ran out of fuel. He's not currently on the accelerator whatsoever. So a bit of an issue for Ragnar. As we take a look then, is Norfolk Blue out on a lap? He is. We will try stay on board with him because I'm not sure if this is a flying lap or not. We have Galactic Skull 2 is retired from the session. He's actually just retired on his own accord, so that's him just deciding not to participate anymore. Big lock up for Norfolk Blue into that next corner. He's going to lose quite a lot of time coming through that one. So we come around the corner. I'm not sure if this is a hot lap from Norfolk Blue. I think he's trying to get to the line to settle a hot lap. So he is trying to beat the clock to set one final attempt. Will Callum J. Spencer, no. So one of the other only people who could have challenged for pole position here has retired early. So it all looks like, unless the likes of Ragnar and Maverick can pull something out of the bag, this man who is on for another lap could potentially take pole position this early on. We look at Ragnar. Ragnar 184 is on another lap. He will be coming to the end of the second DRS zone. Brakes at the 100 meter board. We'll hit that very, very hard. As for John Goff, welcome John Goff in the chat. Unfortunately, if you want to join this league, you will have to sign up through the Nemesis Online Racing League forums and sub-forums, and them guys can point you in the right direction, and hopefully we can see you on the grid. But I don't believe you will be able to get on the grid for the remainder of this season, unfortunately. So good luck to you. Oh, so Ragnar improves and goes second then and overtakes Paddy Britt, Callum J. Spencer. We've got more yellow flags going on in the sectors behind there. We're kind of having a bit of issues with the camera right now. We can't switch off anyone but Ragnar, so I can't tell you what that is. But Maverick has taken pole position by a 1/10 of a second. Norfolk improved by a 1/10, but Maverick found a whopping 2 seconds on his previous best to take pole position. Incredible stuff for Maverick DC88, the guy who really needs to get a great result this weekend to really solidify his championship position, because JD7 is not here currently and he's only 5 points behind him, so that will be pretty interesting to see how well they can push on that one. That's a great lap time from Maverick to take pole position here for the Spanish Grand Prix. For those of you that follow us on Twitter, you will have heard that Zach Swader, aka Sonic X49, was supposed to be joining us in the commentary booth today, but unfortunately for technical issues and his own commitments, unexpected commitments, he has unfortunately been unable to attend. So it's Maverick DC88 who takes pole position by just under 1/10 of a second from Norfolk Blue. Incredible stuff. Ragnar with his best qualifying of the season. Really good result from Ragnar. I'll be very happy with that. Paddy Britt will be biting himself because he had very good pace but crashed out very early on, and then you have the rest of the grid following up him with Super Ninja Skills not setting a qualifying time, bringing up the rear of the grid. So as we get ready for the race, we're just going to take a quick break and allow you to listen to the sights and sounds of the intro. We'll be right back and be ready for the race start. Ladies and gentlemen, you join us at a wet Catalonia race session. Incredible scenes. We're going to try pop in to the Discord room where some of the drivers here are today, and we're going to try get a little bit of an insight into what's been said in there, and we can try relay that information to you. So no insight so far. It doesn't seem like the drivers are too phased, but we know that things get a little bit tense. But anyway, here we go. We get ready for the race start. And it is not the race start. I lied to you. It's a formation lap. Got a little bit prematurely excited there, I will admit. So we are going on the formation lap, and N.O.R.L has been disqualified from the session. You shouldn't need to worry about that, because that theoretically should just be from the formation lap, which means he'll have to sit on the grid while the others can go get the tyres nice and warm for this wet start. But it's the wet starts like these that you'd favour. Who's that going for an off-track excursion? Mr. Galactic Skull 2 is having a bit of issues on his outlap, as we can look through. Oh my goodness, that's Ragnar into the wall, and people are struggling on the formation lap for grip. So that's going to be something really interesting to see when we actually get to the race, because it seems the grip is very, very, very low, as Ragnar is proving. So it's very difficult at the moment for some drivers to get heat in the tyres, and the guy who will be ruling himself quite annoyed at getting disqualified so early on is Mr. Nibbler331, because that man will not be getting any heat into his tyres. So let's have a look at the guys coming up. We've got a Williams out of position of Callum J. Spencer. He's took it upon himself to go up into second place and get ready for the race. He's not letting anyone hold up his tyre warm-up. Norfolk Blue getting a bit sideways. So a lot of cars out of position on the formation lap, as they've all kind of struggled through the wet spray and the low grip conditions. So here we go on the grid then, getting ready for the start of the race. Killian Brady with a pretty substantial remark on the chat there, but we will have to forgive him because we have to remind him that the spectators do not see the weather forecast on this report. But never mind, let's ignore that silly comment and get ready for the race start as we line up on the grid. Here we go then, 5 red lights for the beginning of the race. Lights out and away we go, and it looks like it's a pretty good start for Maverick. It looks like he won't be challenged into turn 1. You wouldn't think, as Ragnar temporarily goes up into second place. He will drive side by side with Norfolk Blue coming into turn 1. He's going to have to try and mount an attack around the outside, something Norfolk Blue, I feel, will not admit. Norfolk Blue gets the job done then. As we can see a bit further back, Callum J. Spencer is trying to get in on the action, looking up the inside of Ragnar, not really going to go anywhere with it. We can see further back down the field as position changes. N.O.R.L has made quite a lot of positions. Norfolk Blue into the lead in the very first lap in turn 3, so great start for Norfolk, despite his initial getaway was pretty poor. As we get around into the next section of corners, into sector 2 we go with Maverick, just 0.2 of a second, trying to go around the outside. He'll have to go the long way around Norfolk Blue. As we see in the background as well, Callum J. Spencer doing battle with Ragnar, but will have to substand that position. As we look further back, Gareth Lennon seems to be having a tussle with Mika, so I think these two have had an off-track excursion and are fighting down for the scraps now. But wow, what a start for Norfolk. Sorry, some technical issues there, as we see a vehicle going off in the background. That's Paddy Brick. He's had another off-track excursion, had a pretty poor qualifying, and has now had an issue in the race. So it looks like the battle for the lead is still going pretty strong. Great start for Anil Tanovic. He's now up into 4th place, challenging for 3rd place on the back of Callum J. Spencer, with Ragnar really close behind him. There's a 1-bar connection between Ragnar and Anil, so we'll have to watch out for a little bit of lag on their half. But we ride on board with Maverick coming out of the final chicane for the first time. Will he have anything to challenge Norfolk Blue into turn 1 after that start? I don't think he will. So it looks like Norfolk Blue is pretty safe for the time being, but as I say that, the slipstream seems to be quite substantial here, but unfortunately he is not able to do anything with it. So as we look around the grid, has anyone made any moves on this very early lap 1? No, they have not, but it looks like Gareth Lennon and Mika are tussling in the background as they've both gone off somewhere in this race. Now we can see Maverick, DC88, is going to be trying his best to get past the Aussie once again and try get the work back done. He wants to get his pole position back. So what happened there is Norfolk didn't get a very good initial start. For whatever reason, Norfolk bogged down and wasn't able to challenge. He was actually under threat from Ragnar coming into turn 1, but he was able to fend off Ragnar, and as a result he was able to keep calm, cool and collected and get ready to fight the likes of Maverick into turn 3. We can see right at the very back there's not a lot of time separating these guys at all according to the screen, but there is. It looks like Gareth Lennon is struggling in the wet conditions once again. We ride on board with Maverick DC88, who is trying to close in on Norfolk Blue to get into first place of this race, as he has had a pretty poor start. Had an issue into turn 3, went a little bit wide, got a little bit sideways, and that allowed the likes of Norfolk Blue to get through. So look further back the grid. Your other battle is N.O.R.L trying to close in on Callum J. Spencer for the podium, but our attention will remain on the battle for the lead because of how close these guys are coming onto the straight once again. You can see Maverick there went for a tighter line than Norfolk Blue did. Norfolk Blue sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 3 of this race, and Norfolk finding himself pretty comfortable in these conditions. 0.4 of a second separates them as they come into the braking zone. We will have a look around and see if there's any more moves going on. Yes, there is. Nibbler trying to have a go on the Toro Rosso, the sister car. Wow, that got close but didn't end up coming to fruit. So unfortunately, that one did not happen on that occasion for Nibbler. As we can see a little bit further back, Super Ninja Skills is coming under pressure from Paddy Brick. Paddy Brick going off on lap 1, remember, and having a little bit of an off-track excursion and almost wrecked his car, but he did that in qualifying. He'll be trying his best not to allow that to happen again. The gap at the front has come down to 0.3 of a second. These guys doing battle all the way as we come up to the chicane. We can listen to the sights and sounds of a wet race for just a few minutes as we watch these guys doing battle. We can see Galactic Skull 2, I think, has had an off-track excursion because he's just dropped a good handful of places. He will drop down into 9th place, has Galactic Skull 2. So here is your battle for the lead. Norfolk leads from Maverick, from Callum J. Spencer, from N.O.R.L, from Ragnar. Those are your top 5 as it stands. They are separated roughly by a couple of seconds, roughly about 5 or 6 seconds. Topper is the top guys at the moment, but these guys are experienced. These are the guys battling for the championship. Norfolk didn't have the strongest start to the championship, and will be trying to pull that back. Maverick DC88 really trying to... Oh, look at Callum J. Spencer getting really sideways, almost lost the car coming into the chicane. Wow, that would have been an interesting sight to see on board as we look at N.O.R.L. Is he going to be able to pounce on that? Is he going to be able to sense? Is he going to be able to theoretically smell the blood of Callum J. Spencer after that mistake? We look at the top 2. Maverick's up in the slipstream, but I don't think he has enough to get past into turn 1, and he doesn't. So as we look around the grid, it's N.O.R.L attacking Callum J. Spencer for the podium position. We can see Paddy Brick has made the move on Super Ninja Skills up the inside, but now he goes wide and will have to defend the inside around the next corner, and there's contact between him and Super Ninja Skills. Not enough to take either one of them out, but they get a bit rough, bang some tyres, and that allows Super Ninja Skills to get sideways and helps Paddy Brick 24 in his quest to keep the position. So we look around, half a second separates your top 2, and about 0.8 of a second separates 3rd and 4th. This is your battle going on right now. Your battle is going on inside the top 4. We're watching Annabel Tanovich in the bright Pink Panther, the number 10 Pink Panther, closing in on the number 16 Welshman car of the Williams. We can see the gap has come down to about 0.3 of a second, so it looks like Maverick really desperate to get past Norfolk now, looking for a which way, but when you're behind a car like this, as we ride along, you might get a little bit more of an example of that. There is a lot of spray coming off that car, and it can be quite difficult to see depending on what view you're using as well. If you're using the cockpit cam, it can be very hard to see and really hard to judge the braking distance. On lap 4 then he gets a bit sideways, and I think that's going to stop him challenging into turn 1, and I think that might just be the case for Mr. Maverick DC88. He will have to hold off for the time being, but I say that, and he's got quite a decent run, but I don't think he's anywhere close enough to make the move into turn 1. We ride on board in this other shot. Oh, nice. He gets really close to the back of him. Norfolk struggling for low-speed traction as Annabel Tanovich has closed the gap for him about 0.8 to 0.5. It's now gone back up to 0.8. So Callum J. Spencer getting a pretty good turn 1, turn 2. We see, oh, we've got Chazza joining. He's a bit late. Welcome to the party, Chazza. That's a man who could have got here with for some championship contention today, but has unfortunately missed out on that occasion. So we're watching the battle between Maverick and Norfolk. The UI will go off your screen now. You can see what's going on. All you can see is their battle as they come through the quick chicane. Norfolk leads, quite a lot of spray coming off his car, and he's got to do something about this Maverick behind him. He needs to get a bit more of a gap than this. because he won't be comfortable in the slightest. I think they'll both be enjoying this, but Norfolk went slightly wide there. We ride on board with Maverick. He's going to pull around the outside. Is he going to be able to do anything with it? We can see on the off-board shot, he's going to have to go the long way around. Surely that allows Norfolk to keep the next corner. It does, but that's the first attack from Maverick, and I think Norfolk is slightly starting to feel the pressure of the start of this Grand Prix. Maverick getting all kinds of feisty and is wanting to get the job done. He is wanting to get underway. We can see the gaps. It looks like N.O.R.L is going to try have another go on Callum J. Spencer down the straight, but he's actually lost some time, so I think a mistake for N.O.R.L has cost him on this occasion. But what's not cost this man is the likes of Maverick DC88. Callum J. Spencer sets the fastest lap watching this battle. Maverick DC88 trying and trying and trying to find a way past, but there's nowhere to go with it at this time as we get this lovely helicopter-esque board shot. It's really nice. We can see N.O.R.L on the offensive on Ragnar. He's trying to get past him, trying to move into turn one. Did not work on that occasion for him. And we'll now have to sit behind the Renault for the next few corners as they're both getting a bit sideways. Some debris on the inside there on the grass, so something has happened earlier on in the race. But as we see the likes of N.O.R.L, he's getting all kinds of squiggly, and it looks like the spray can be quite effective, as N.O.R.L has pointed out. So one Red Bull fighting for first place, the other one battling for fifth place. This is not respective, and it looks like Ragnar's got a little bit wide, and I think N.O.R.L senses half a chance. He smells a little bit of blood like a great white shark, and he will have a go into the chicane, I'm sure. No, he will not, and gives that one up. And we can see Galactic Skull 2 has just lost a position to Nemesis Racing. I think another off-track excursion for the Scotsman. But this is our closest battle as we stand. We were riding on board with the likes of these guys. Those are not the kind of cameras we want to see. We would prefer to see the back of the Renault rather than the Red Bull, but this is what the game gives us. Here we go then, back on a proper camera shot. We can see that I think N.O.R.L's more confident in his wet car right now, and as someone pointed out, it may have been a dry qualifying, but at the same time people may have been setting up for the wet as Ragnar goes very, very wide, and that's going to allow N.O.R.L to go around the outside of the final chicane. So that is an incredible goal from N.O.R.L to pressurise Ragnar into making that mistake. Will Ragnar have anything to answer back with? He'll dive straight into the slipstream. We can see Maverick has had to go into turn one again, but nothing doing, and it looks like Ragnar is going to try go all the way around the outside. N.O.R.L into turn one. That's an impressive feat to do, but N.O.R.L will try his hardest to hold the inside line, but wow, what a move from Ragnar. Gets the job done, sweeps back into the lead, and has made amends for his mistake that he made on the lap ago. Of course, it's a variation in this league. A lot of guys use assists and a lot of them don't. Because any assist is what is going on back there for Paddy Brick. I think he's weaving, trying to get some tyre temp, so a bit of issue for Paddy Brick and cold tyres as we can ride on board with N.O.R.L once again coming through the next section of corners on Ragnar. Ragnar goes a little bit wide, and this is where N.O.R.L attacked the first time last lap. Is going to be able to do it again? I think he's a little bit far back, but as we say, that Callum Spencer has moved within 0.4 of a second of the battling pairs. The battling pair are coming down the second DRS straight. No DRS in wet conditions, remember. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2, and I think that's Paddy Brick, as Paddy Brick had a spin, so he was weaving to get some tyre temp, and it's clearly not worked for him as he drops all the way down into P10, and we'll have to do battle with Galactic Skull 2 to get that position back. But we're concentrating on this top three right now. We can look at Maverick. He's in the middle of the sandwich. Callum J. Spencer will be enjoying watching this, but now he's involved in it as well, so he's going to try his best to stay with this and lose as little time as possible. Good evening to the chat watching as well. I'm sure you're very much enjoying this. We are seeing a potential overtaking manoeuvre about to happen from Maverick going into turn one. Is it going to be? Is he going to be able to throw it up the inside? No, he's not. As we were saying about the assists just a minute ago, guys, it's a variation in this league because all assists are allowed, and some drivers are more confident in their abilities than others, and some use traction control, some you don't, some use ABS, but some don't. But obviously, especially in conditions like these, whoever is running the assists will definitely have an advantage. So you can see that playing out. So you're more likely to see someone who's running ABS throw one up the inside than someone who isn't, for example. So Maverick trying to smell the blood of that Ferrari as we are doing the rain dance here in Spain. He's going to follow him through the next chicane, getting ready to go for a move potentially around the corner into the second DRS straight. It's all about getting a good exit and a good slipstream at this point, because DRS doesn't look like it will be enabled for the time being. The likes of the weather is looking a little bit better in the sky, but Galactic Skull 2 has called it a day, and I fear that may be a disconnection for Galactic Skull 2 rather than just a straight retirement. So unfortunate scenes for Galactic Skull 2 on that occasion. Coming around the final chicane, we get a lovely nose shot of the Red Bull. Paddy Brick has left as well, so I think Paddy Brick has called it a day, given his recent fortunes have been spun around and the like by the weather conditions. So the weather looks like it's lightening up just a little bit. The weather looks more light rain than heavy rain. We're watching with Maverick just a little bit far back, I would say, on this occasion. Galactic Skull 2 rejoins, and of course that means he will be allowed to take his car back, as we are going to have our first pit stop of the day. It is going to be Ragnar 184. He's going to make the gamble. Ragnar 184 going on the intermediates. This is an important stage of the race. So wow, first gamble goes to Ragnar. He's going to switch to the inters, but I feel as if the other guys are going to try stay on the wets until dry conditions. If they've been given the information that the rain's going to stop, then they would surely just stay out and try and make it to dry weather on the wet tyres. But that's a gamble from Ragnar, and we'll have to see if it triggers anyone else in the pit lane. So first gamble of the day is created by Ragnar by going on the intermediate tyres. We can see with the likes of Mr. Maverick DC88 right now, still stuck in this sandwich. Not a lot of moves happening in this top three, but it's all about following and trying to keep cool with the pressure, keep calm and collected, and try to stay with the train, wait for one of them to make a mistake. But the problem is, these guys are three very high caliber drivers in the N.O.R.L that are battling for the top three right now. The man leading the race, Norfolk Blue, is an N.O.R.L Project Cars champion. I've raced against him myself, and on his day he can be very hard to beat. I've also had some supreme battles going on with Maverick in the past on the Project Car side, and I can say he's a very hard driver to pass as well. Callum J. Spencer, again another driver I have a lot of experience with. He's can also on his day be very hard to beat, and he likes a wet condition now and again. So that is what is going on in your top three right now. Not a lot happening into turn one. We could take a look at this little battle going on. Paddy Brick is continuing, but I believe Paddy Brick has actually left the session, so that will be his AI, and he's holding Mika up a little bit. Mika's getting a little bit fed up, and we'll go past him. I believe Callum J. Spencer may have just made a mistake. He's dropped a little bit off the group there. We have Nemesis Racing in the pits now. Is he going to gamble for the intermediate tyres? Let's stay on board and watch. These inters going on the Renault. So Renault trying with both of their cars an inter strategy. Interesting thing from the Italian team of Renault. Italian team in the sense they have an all-Italian lineup. Of course they are French, I'm sure you know that. And I'm not stupid, I promise. As we're coming into the section, the next section, which allows us to get on this straight once again, where it's all about getting a good exit. And it looks like they're getting similar exits every single time. But as you can see on Maverick's Delta, he's a little bit up on his personal best, but he's lost a bit coming through that section. So no one really enjoying the conditions. We'll have to keep an eye on the likes of Ragnar. If we can just try get a peek on their deltas, we can try get an idea of how good their delta is compared to their personal best, which their personal best would have been set in the wet weather conditions. And we can see that Ragnar's personal best is just a little bit off his personal best in the wet conditions. So it looks like it's a gamble right now, and here is the gamble coming into play. All three of the top three are coming into the pit lane. This is going to be an interesting one, because Maverick will have the second pit box, so Norfolk will have no, sorry, I was correct. Maverick will have the first of the pit boxes, then it will be the likes of Norfolk, and then it will be the likes of Callum J. Spencer. And I think Maverick got held for a little bit there, and that is going to help, especially Callum J. Spencer. No, it's not, because he gets held as well, and he's going to be coming out very close to another car. He's actually inside of a Force India as they come out the pit lanes. That's an interesting hybrid as they battle, but wow, what a stop for Anel Tanovic. That brings him right into play. Great stop by Force India to get Anel Tanovic so into play for third position, but Callum J. Spencer just got held up by that Force India. The Force India came at the worst possible time. So we can see more cars in the pit lane, but the Force India came at the worst possible time for Callum J. Spencer and held him up so much to the point that there was nothing Callum J. Spencer could do but sit and wait for the Pink Panther to just roll past him, and that's really hurt him in his battle for the top 2. And an impressive stop for Norfolk. Norfolk got a really good stop. And Maverick unfortunately did not. Was held for a little bit, not overly much, but was definitely held and compromised just a little bit by the likes of Maverick. So as we continue on lap 11, it is N.O.R.L who we are watching right now. He is the man who is closest to his next competitor on the circuit. He's been chased down by Ragnar, so really good stop by Ragnar. He's really got the undercut on that one, and it's brought him right back into play for 4th and 3rd place. And N.O.R.L, arguably the biggest gainer out of that section of pit stops. He gained massively on Callum J. Spencer, but does he have the pace to hang with him? Because Callum J. Spencer on the first stint was able to just drive away from N.O.R.L, and that's kind of the reason he was so far back. Galactic Skull 2 having some connection issues, I believe, and that's what's going on here as Mika and Gareth Lennon G8991 drive through the AI ghost car of Paddy Brick. You have to remember, Paddy Brick no longer a contender in this race. His AI is doing the driving and will go invisible for the foreseeable. So we will ride on board with Gareth Lennon on the pit straight. And is he able to do anything about that Ferrari in front of him and get himself an extra point here today? We will find out. It's kind of touch and go. He's in the slipstream, but he's a little bit far back, and it looks like there's some rubber banding going on between himself and Mika, so that's going to make it even harder to judge, as he got the downshifts a little bit wrong too. So wow, that is an abuse of track limits by Gareth Lennon. Oh my goodness, he's really taking all the track liberties as he's trying to stay with the back of that Ferrari, and it looks like the back end of the Toro Rosso doesn't want to know. Really not interested in gripping, but he's getting very close now to Mika. I feel a move is potentially being set up here by the Northern Irishman. The Northern Irishman gain himself a reputation for doing moves like that. What an absolute dive bomb by Gareth Lennon, and he just shoves Mika off the track. That was a bit naughty in my opinion from Gareth Lennon. He came from an awful long way back and effectively shoved Mika into the gravel. I'm sure Mika will be throwing his hand up at that one and taking that one to the stewards. That was a little bit naughty by Gareth Lennon, but it was good to watch. But if you were Mika, you'd feel a bit upset on that one, but he gets the job done nevertheless. We can see N.O.R.L is the next closest car again to his competitor. He's kind of hanging with Callum Spencer here. He's just letting Callum Spencer pull him along, is what's currently going on. And as the race starts to cool down, this is the part of the race we're about just under halfway in, where things start getting a little bit more tactical. This is where whoever has got the best tyre life, I would say, at this stage in the race is probably going to be the best off towards the end of the race. So that's what's going on here. Mika will be driving in a red car with red mist. I'd be saying after that move that Gareth Lennon's pulled on him, but enormous amounts of time have been gained by Maverick on Norfolk Blue. So I think Norfolk Blue's had a bit of a mistake coming through that last sector. So a little bit more pressure coming inbound from Maverick now. So we watched the gap fluctuate. It's gone back up to 9/10, but at one point it did come down to just over 3/10 of a second. So we have to bear that in mind. The gap fluctuating a bit, and Galactic Skull 2 once again in the pits for a change of tyres. He's gone from intermediates to more intermediate, so a second stop for Galactic Skull 2 on that one. That's an interesting strategy by Toro Rosso. Speaking of which, we can see Galactic Skull 2 leaves the pits as the front two just sail on past him. So he'll try to follow them, but kind of gets turn one a little bit messed up before he even arrives, really. So he's kind of on the back foot immediately. Watching Maverick, he's hounding Norfolk. He wants this victory, as Galactic Skull 2 will have to stay out of the way for blue flags, but he kind of holds up N.O.R.L a little bit. Luckily the game ghosts him and he disconnects once again, so pretty poor connection issues for Galactic Skull 2, unfortunately, preventing him from doing too much on the track this afternoon. So Maverick 6/10 of a second, just over, through that last sector. He now brings it down to half a second. This is where Norfolk keeps getting a good exit there, and it prevents Maverick from being able to challenge into the next corner, although he brings it down to 4/10. Not much he can do. But we're on the inters now. The rain is definitely easing up. It hasn't stopped yet, so dry tyres won't be on the cards just yet. But they'll all be asking Jeff. They'll be using the team radio button to communicate with Jeff during this race to find out when that rain is going to stop. There may be a weather report coming from Jeff that gives them an estimated time. Unfortunately, as a spectator, we cannot get that information, so we can't really gauge what's going on in the race, but we can tell you that Galactic Skull 2 has got internet connection issues. We can confirm that is what the issue is. But Callum J. Spencer sets the fastest lap of the race, trying to catch the top two back up again, and he'll be a bit frustrated. We're tripping up on our words more than these drivers are tripping up on the dry, the wet conditions. There we go again of this circuit. But it's Maverick who's applying the pressure to Norfolk Blue 1234, formerly known as Norfolk Blue. Before he lost access to that account, so rest in peace Norfolk Blue, and the reign of 1234 begins. But both of these drivers racing on wheels, so there'll be a lot more work going on that one. We've actually got Galactic Skull 2 in the chat now, so I'm not as Galactic Skull 2 fully retired from the race. Is that, as he have they called that one a day at Toro Rosso? We'll have to see if we could get confirmation in the chat from that one. But we're watching the battle between Maverick and Norfolk right now. That's where our attention should be centered. And we can see them coming into the final sector. Yes, Galactic Skull 2 has retired from the race, so that's a bit unfortunate. We might be able to get Galactic Skull 2 into the party in a few moments' time and just get a few words from him. We'll see if we could chase that one up and see if that's a possibility. But at the meantime, we're going to concentrate on this battle for the lead, because Maverick has lost quite a lot of time through the final sector on that one. So all the gaps pretty spread out at the moment. There's not a lot to commentate on as the drivers get through but make no mistake, this is still a very important phase of the race, because while all these drivers seem to have free air with each other, they've still got to put the laps in. Apart from these two drivers, Paddy Brick and Galactic Skull 2, are done for the day, so everyone who finishes effectively will be receiving points today, as we've had a pretty poor turnout of the 20 committed drivers. Unfortunately, we've only received 12 today. But regardless, the battle for the lead goes on. It's about a second in between. We don't know what the weather forecast was, but it is still light rain. The sky looks a little bit more blue. But we are still waiting for the rain to stop. But in the meantime, this is crunch time for a lot of the drivers, because this is where they get to work on the tyres and just trying to get the good gaps, because we're in a pit stop phase here. Because if the rain does dry up, you've got to make the perfect guess on when to go, because one lap too early or one lap too late can completely ruin your race here. But it's kind of hard to explain this phase of the race, because you go around in a part where you're just sort of managing the tyres, trying to close down the gaps around you whilst trying to extend the ones behind you, and it's just a crunch time, a little bit of a grind where you just got to keep going, and the race will come to you later on. So these are the closest guys on track right now, I believe, is the leaders, so at least that's good. But these guys both using wheels, both Thrustmaster wheels, so these guys will be working the wheel in this wet condition to get the optimal lines, get the optimal traction, and I'm sure they'll be getting a workout and they'll be a bit warm at this stage in the race. I'm sure I believe Norfolk Blue using a Thrustmaster T150 and Maverick DC88 using a Thrustmaster T300. So the biggest gainer of the championship obviously today right now is Maverick DC88. Norfolk Blue will also gain pretty well today. If Norfolk Blue wins the race today, he will very much, I would say, be fired up into second place at least in the championship. We've got Gareth Lennon is making a pit stop. Is this going to be a gamble for dry tyres? It is. Is that dry tyres? It is. Wow. Okay. Well, the rain is still coming down and Gareth Lennon has pitted for dry tyres. He's made an absurd gamble. Surely that's too early because we can still see the rain coming down. That is a big gamble for Gareth Lennon. We'll have to watch him through the next first few corners and just see how the dry tyres handle. But I think that is far too early for Gareth Lennon. And I think the tyres agree with me because he's struggling to keep it on the road. There's no dry line or anything to follow. There's a little bit of a rubbered in line, but there's hardly a dry line to follow. So Gareth Lennon's picked a strategy that has definitely not paid off for him. I think we can confirm that strategy was a bit of a mistake by Gareth Lennon, and he's kind of cost himself on that one. I mean, it was a gamble worth taking, but I think he's gambled on red and lost on that one, unfortunately. Gambled on yellow, actually, for the soft compound tyres. So here is your next battle. Still with the leaders. We have N.O.R.L was making some pace on Ragnar. He's gained on him quite a little bit. We will watch this for a little bit and see what Ragnar can do. In terms of defending from N.O.R.L, N.O.R.L is a very fast driver, won multiple races last season, we have to remember. A lot of the times he won the race from last place on the grid, so he's very good at overtaking as well. But unfortunately for him, we've got a yellow flag. Can we have a look up and down to kind of locate that yellow flag? I think it's Gareth Lennon with that mistaken strategy. Yeah, Gareth Lennon's going to have to pit again for intermediates and has kind of ruined his own race because even the AI driver, Paddy Brake, has passed him now as he got kind of in the way of that battle. So, wow. Really big gamble for Gareth Lennon and really hasn't paid off. That is for sure. N.O.R.L on the offensive on Ragnar. Italian versus Australian. This man N.O.R.L won several races last season from last on the grid, albeit in dry conditions. Doesn't look like he's the strongest wet weather driver, but he can certainly pull off an overtake. He's a good lad when it comes to overtakes. And will he be able to do something? And Gareth Lennon's actually retired. I don't think he wanted to bear the shame of coming into the pits once again. He pits anyway. I'm going to retire the car, but I think that gamble was, I thought it was way too early. When we saw him coming into the pits when the rain was still coming down, it was a big gamble that did not pay off for him on that case. So that means Galactic Skull 2's AI driver will come back out in 11th. We're watching N.O.R.L chase down Ragnar at the moment. Both ends in O, the names here. Battle of the O's. Italian versus Australian. N.O.R.L arguably underperforming a little bit this race compared to what we're used to seeing him at, so some issues for him. So the yellow, blue and red helmet chases down the white, blue and red helmet. It should be a good opportunity for N.O.R.L. If he can get a good exit, he'll be able to challenge. I think he's got a decent exit. Is he going to be brave enough to dive bomb Ragnar here? I think he is. There goes the move. Daniel Ricciardo style move from the Red Bull driver. And it looks like Ragnar will come back on him on that one and will take back the inside line. But now N.O.R.L has the inside line. They bang wheels as they come through the next section of corner. Who's going to be ahead as we come into the camera shot? And I think N.O.R.L is just ahead. Great move. Great racing from the likes of N.O.R.L and Ragnar on that one. Great racing by these two guys. And N.O.R.L moves up a place into P5. Great effort from him. Ragnar will try a counter-offensive. He's done it before, remember. Ragnar did this earlier on, and I believe it was to N.O.R.L as well. So he got overtaken and was able to go back up the inside into turn 1. Is he going to be able to do that once again? I think he's far too back. Yeah, he's way too far back. So unfortunately, no battle for that one, and N.O.R.L moves up a spot and secures his 5th place in this race, and will now have to try close down a 16-second gap if he wants Anil Tanovic in 13 laps. It's not impossible if the rain stops and a wet weather tyre to dry tyre gamble is apparent, then potentially something like that could happen. But in the meantime, we're watching a battle for the lead. And the majority of this battle for the lead has just been Maverick following Norfolk ever since he lost first place after making a mistake in turn 3. On the start of the race, which allowed Norfolk Blue to take the lead, although Norfolk Blue did get a poor start himself and was challenged by Ragnar into turn 1. He was able to recover very quickly, very professionally, to get back up and challenge him for the lead, which he managed to do. Norfolk Blue, of course, an N.O.R.L champion, IndyCar champion of Project Cars. So he's pretty experienced in these open wheel stuff. Of course, Maverick has been with N.O.R.L F1 for some time now. A great story of experience for this guy. Started the league and was often struggling to get into the points, was battling near the back. But through commitment, experience, and a love for the new physics model on the games, he was able to push himself and is now challenging for wins in the championship. And a lot of that improvement came over the course of last season. He started off midfield last season, and by the end of the season he was winning races, which really set himself up well for this championship. But it's Red Bull who are going to have an enormous lead in the championship right now, which McLaren hold the lead currently of 119 points. But with neither McLaren racing here today, you'd have to argue that is pretty hard for them to keep that league lead into the next round, because we have Maverick in second position, which will give him 18 points, and we have Nibbler with a further 10 points, which means they'll score 28 points on top of their already current 74 points, which would give them 102 points. So if it stays like this, it's actually not possible for Red Bull to take the lead. They need Nibbler to get up some positions if they want to take the lead here today, but I think it's, unless the McLaren starts showing up in full force, they're not going to be able to keep that much longer regardless. But needless to say, it's a good day for Red Bull. They're probably going to be the highest overall scorers. A lot of cars have only entered a single car today. I think the only double teams here today are Red Bull, Renault and Toro Rosso, but Toro Rosso already with 2 DNFs, so nothing special for Toro Rosso today. We have Nibbler boxing, but it is for a set of new intermediates. So I think Nibbler believes the rain is here to stay. He's going to be the first one to blink and put on a new set of inters, and he's going to go to the end on these, I think. And I don't think Jeff has predicted the rain to stop at all. So I think we're going to be seeing some we're going to be seeing guys pitting for their final stop of the race onto new intermediates very soon. Mr. Galactical 2 has corrected me that Ferrari is also running as well. Of course, we forgot about Mr. Mika down here, who is struggling a little bit in his own battles. So Norfolk still leads by about 9/10 of a second from Maverick. Maverick trying to apply the pressure, but he's not been able to do it so far. He's been able to apply the pressure, but Norfolk, like we say, he's a champion in other series. He knows how to absolve that pressure, and is even able to, in some cases, transform it into momentum, which he's definitely doing here today. Maverick, the experienced old boy, who's going to be trying to get another win this season. Of course, Maverick has already taken a win this season, round 1 in Australia. Norfolk Blue is yet to win his first race of the season, so that is what Norfolk Blue's aiming to do here today. He's trying to win his first race of the season. So there'll be a lot of motivation behind Norfolk Blue to get that first win, for sure. But he's going to have to work for it, because Maverick has suddenly found a lot of pace through the first sector and is now just half a second behind Norfolk Blue as they come into the quick chicane. But the reoccurring problem for Maverick is the next corner. He can't seem to get a very good exit out of there, and that doesn't allow him to attack Norfolk Blue into the next corner, which he'd really want. We can ride on board, but it looks like he's got a good exit, and then Norfolk Blue just rubber bands back up the road. But Norfolk Blue's gone a little bit wide. That's not the ideal line, and he's going to lose a bit of time to Maverick, I would think, there. But unfortunately, there's not a lot going on there. Yeah, Super Ninja Skills has found an impressive amount of time on Ragnar, so I think Ragnar may have been an issue. We can see on the dashboard of the Mercedes, the pit light is flashing, so I think Super Ninja Skills is getting ready for a pit stop. But we're going to watch our leaders again as they come down the start-finish straight. Maverick not worrying too much about any temperature. We come into turn 1. No move happening just yet. We will check back in with Super Ninja Skills, who's now right on the back of Ragnar. Ragnar's really struggling at this phase in the race, but is Super Ninja Skills going to relieve him of some pressure and box? He's not, so he's ignoring the pit light, ignoring Jeff, and he's going to stay out for another lap to try attack Ragnar into turn 1. Maverick was about this distance back last time, and Norfolk Blue was unable to do anything. Ragnar's gone super defensive to the inside, a bit unnecessarily, and Super Ninja Skills doesn't really need to follow him over there and attack him. So it hangs back on that one. Nibbler, however, though, is making gains on one Nemesis Racing. Of course, Nibbler has already pitted and will not need to pit again. Some of these guys here are going to be trying to go to the end, but it's going to be very risky because you can just see the difference in grip Nibbler has on the exit of in a corner. As we watch here, this is going to be a prime example. Just gets on the throttle so much earlier, looks to the inside, throws it down the inside, lovely swingman shot, gets the job done on Nemesis Racing, clean as you like, and that's just what happens when you have that much more grip. On that occasion, we can look at Super Ninja Skills all over the back of Ragnar once again. Who's going to get the better exit on this corner? It looks like the better entry goes to Super Ninja Skills, but will that transpond into a better exit? He's still got the pit light flashing, but he's going to be focusing on the flashing light of Ragnar's Renault. And as Ragnar goes very, very, very wide, Ragnar really struggling for tyre grip. That's going to allow Super Ninja Skills to go up the inside, get the job done. One of the easier overtakes on it this afternoon. Ragnar will try fight it back, but the battle's lost, and I will expect to see Ragnar in the pits at the end of this lap, because it looks like his tyres have given up the ghost and they're not interested in doing battle with anyone anymore. So will we see the Italian of Ragnar into the pits? No, we will not. So, despite obviously losing a lot of tyre grip, Ragnar's not interested in coming into the pits. He's interested in going after the Canadian Mercedes driver of Super Ninja Skills and having another go into turn 1. He's pulled this off once on Nibbler, but it doesn't look like he's pulling it off anymore today. We have Nemesis Racing coming into the pits. The other Renault deciding to come have a pit stop. Is very, very cautious on the run up. Doesn't want to speed into the pit lane, but will not be phased. But who is looking a little bit phased is Norfolk Blue. Maverick DC88 once again within that 3/10 of a second mark. He does so often and then drops back. It seems like the pressure getting a little bit too Maverick and Norfolk in that battle, and it appears that Maverick is pulling that medium tyres. It is. So we have our first dry tyre gamble coming from yours truly, Nemesis Racing. He's going to try pull off the strategy that Gareth Lennon, GL8991, wasn't able to do, and it doesn't look like it's early enough still. He completely outbrakes himself into turn 1 and skids across. We also have Mika in the pits. This could be crucial. Is this going to be dry tyres as well? It is, and it is also soft compound. No, it's medium compound tyres going on Mika's car. Callum J. Spencer boxes now. This is the dry tyre moment, and this could be massive for the battle of the lead, because Callum J. Spencer, 11 seconds off the lead, is now pitting for a set of other intermediates. Oh wow, so Callum J. Spencer's going for the intermediates when so many cars around him have gone for dries. Is N.O.R.L going to go for dries? That could be a big mistake on behalf of Callum Spencer, or it could be a massive well played, because it looks like Mika is again struggling. Is it a little bit too early and too damp on the track? We'll find out, because here comes N.O.R.L. He's going to put on a set of the hard compound, I think that is going on. Hard compound tyres going on N.O.R.L. Not a great tyre to be on. Very low grip. And in these situations, Nibbler coming into the pits once more. What's Nibbler going to do? Nibbler's going for more intermediate tyres. I think that's a mistake by the Red Bull guys. I don't think he wanted that. I think he wanted dry tyres, and I think there's been a glitch for Nibbler, because he's only just pitted for new wet tyres, so that's a bit of an issue on behalf. And look at the struggle going on by Anel Tanovic very early on. Which of the leaders is going to blink first then? This is going to be interesting. Let's watch this. Let's listen to the sights and sounds and see who blinks first out of the leaders. So we have Norfolk Blue, our race leader, into the pit lane. He was the first to blink. Maverick thinks it's still a bit too early. Or is Maverick going to try and make them 6 laps work on intermediates? Is that more intermediates for Norfolk Blue? So there's a mix of strategy going on here. So many people are thinking dries and so many people are thinking wets. Nemesis has pitted its second time for some soft tyres. Oh my goodness. Norfolk comes out the pit lane. He's not going to be threatened by Callum J. Spencer, but they've both gone for a set of intermediates. There is a massive mix of strategy going on here, because you've got the likes of N.O.R.L. I believe Mika is another one. Nemesis Racing is another one. Yeah, we've already mentioned N.O.R.L. and other guys, but a lot of guys. We've got waved yellows in Sector 1. Did someone just have a not traffic excursion? It did. It was Mr. Nemesis. And I think it's still that little bit too damp for the dry tyres. We criticised Callum J. Spencer's first thing. We thought he made a mistake, but he hasn't. I think he's got this bang on. I think it's just a little bit too early for dries, but I reckon in a few laps time, give it 3 laps, I will put a bet that around lap 30 of this race the track is going to be dry enough for dries, and I think that is what Maverick is looking for. Is Maverick going to take a gamble here? Because Maverick has a real chance of staying out for 6 laps on these intermediates and taking the win away from Norfolk, who has decided to pit. We have more pit lane teams coming in, as we have Paddy Brick coming into the pits as his AI. So his AI, that'll be an interesting one. Let's actually watch this, because the AI will be on a set program and they will have what they believe, and the AI believe it is time to stay on inters as well. So that's an interesting one. So Norfolk Blue has got a gap of around 22 seconds. He has to close in 5 laps if he wants to win. Unless this man, Maverick DC88, pits once more, and I don't think he's going to. Callum J. Spencer sets the fastest lap of the race on the inters, confirming they are the right tyre to stay on. But did Norfolk try to make Maverick blink into dry tyres? And did it not work out? He's only taken 0.3 of a second off Maverick on this first lap, proving that the Inters have got good tyre life and can get to the end of the race quite comfortably. But wow, I think Norfolk has gone for a strategy that may have cost him the race win here. We've just seen Mika overtake Nemesis as Nemesis pits again for a new front wing and some intermediate tyres. That's an interesting one then, because obviously Nemesis has thought about the dries and it's not paid off, but his teammate Ragnar thinks it's time for the dries, but it looks like his teammate Ragnar's going to need a new nose as well. So what have the Renault boys been up to? We have a little bit of a tyre glitch. There they go, they changed there. He has actually put the yellow compound soft tyres on as N.O.R.L goes up, but hard tyres I think was a bad call by Force India for N.O.R.L, because they are an awful tyre to drive on. I can tell from experience. So Norfolk Blue has taken about 2 seconds now out of Maverick. The tyre life difference is starting to pay off, but he's going to need to take a lot more than that out of Maverick per lap. With 4 laps to go, he's going to need a lot of time to find. We will see what the gap is. 90.1 as Norfolk sets the fastest lap of the race. But is it enough? He's got 18.8 seconds to catch the leader, or this man, Maverick DC88, will win the race by staying out on a one-stop. Who has got the better strategy here? As we can see, Callum J. Spencer is lapping, I believe, the AI of Paddy Brick and just drives through him like he's not there. But the battle looks like it is focused all on the top 2. There's no close battles anywhere on the track, but there is one hell of a strategic battle going on. Maverick and Red Bull thought it was wise to stay out on the one stop and go to the end. Ferrari and Norfolk didn't believe that and thought it'd be better to pit, get some new rubber and push to the end. But I think Norfolk got phased out thinking Maverick would pit, and you can see that he's really starting to take time out of Maverick. But with 3 laps after this one to go, it's going to be really difficult. So that's an interesting one. 16.9 the gap now. Coming down ever more. But as the track gets drier, Norfolk's intermediates are going to run out. So the drier the track gets, the more overheated both his and Maverick's will get. Maverick is the one who will take the most punishment from that, because Maverick has got the ones which are a lot older. What time did they put them on? Around lap 14, lap 15, somewhere around there. So that means the tyres are starting to get old, but Norfolk's setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He is gunning for Maverick, and you bet your ass that Maverick will be seeing those purple lap tyres pop up on his screen, and that will play with a little bit of the psychology variant of it. We can ride on board with Maverick just a little bit and just kind of gauge what the grip is, and he's about 6/10 off his personal best through sector 1, showing how the tyres have gone. But look how dry the track is getting now. There's still a little bit of spray coming off the tyres, not an awful lot. There's still a bit of grip available to him, but just look at the time on your left hand side that Norfolk is taking out. He's taken about 6 seconds over the course of 2 laps on Maverick, and that gap I feel is only going to get bigger as the track dries out, and obviously Norfolk's tyres will have a lot more grip to offer the Mavericks. But is this a masterclass? This is a masterclass by one of these drivers, and we're still yet to find out which one. It's great. We still don't know who's got the better strategy, but the time being taken out by Norfolk is starting to get a little bit worrying if you're in the Red Bull garage. But I think he's got to push all the way, and he's got to catch him, or else he'll just look silly for making an unnecessary pit stop. Maverick has braved it, whereas Norfolk has blinked first. And is Norfolk going to pay the price for that, or is he going to be able to catch him? But Maverick's decided to pit. I think Maverick's going for the dry tyres. This is going to be an interesting one. This will decide the race, because if Maverick gets a really good stop and goes on dry tyres, and it is going to be dry soft tyres, Norfolk is now the one that needs to keep the gap. Norfolk is the one who's going to be hunted down by Maverick on the dry tyres. So there goes Norfolk. He will go into the lead, but Maverick has got 2 single laps to go and catch Norfolk. That is a really tall mountain to climb, because here comes Callum J. Spencer. Is Callum J. Spencer going to interfere with Maverick's plans here? Because he's going to try to go around the outside of turn 1, and if he gets ahead, that's really going to compromise Maverick immediately, and it's going to ruin his chances of taking the race victory here. Here they go side by side by turn 3, and it looks like the yellow compound soft tyres have got the better grip, and they're going to get him past Callum J. Spencer and hold off that attack from Callum J. Spencer. But Callum is going to try follow Maverick now, but Maverick's got 8.7 seconds to find in 2 laps, and I'm sat here shaking my head because I don't think that's possible. I think that's just a little bit too much for Maverick, and I think that battle, although it wasn't much of a battle, it could have been a lot worse, but I think the battle with Callum J. Spencer has hurt him just a little bit. But it's taken 3 temps now, just out, even while having a battle. So we can see that the dry tyres are a lot more efficient, but now it's Norfolk who's got to go to the end. So in the space of a lap, it's gone from the hunter has become the hunted. Race control have enabled DRS then. They think it's dry enough for DRS, which it is, which usually means it's dry enough for dry tyres, definitely. So how much faster are these yellow compound soft tyres? We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Who is that? It is... Oh my goodness gracious me! Oh my goodness, was that Norfolk passing as well? Oh my god, that was unnecessarily close by Ragnar. Oh my goodness me. Oh wow, that was almost curtains for Norfolk, and I bet that was absolutely terrifying for the young Australian, because that could have been his race there and then, and I reckon we'll have a hot-headed Aussie in the after-race chat for that one for sure, because that was terrifying, and Ragnar tried to flick spin as quick as he could to get going again and kind of just got in the way. But wow, I bet that was terrifying for Norfolk. Unbelievable. 7 seconds with this and next lap to go, comes down to 6.8. I don't think it's enough, but shout out to Super Ninja Skills, qualified last without a time, and is now up in P4, 9 seconds ahead of P5 by doing the one stop. Great effort by Super Ninja Skills to be up there. That's a good thing from him. We have Nemesis back in the pits. Is he going to go from the intermediates back onto the dries? Let's watch this one out of curiosity, because this has got to be like Nemesis' 6th stop of the day or something like that. He's been on tyres, off tyres, on tyres, off. He's really made the pit team work for the money this afternoon as he pits. And the fastest lap set by hard compound tyre runner and Eltanovic, showing just how quick the dry tyres are going now. There's now 4.5 seconds to gain, and although I thought it was too much, the gap at the start of this lap was 8 seconds. He's taken 4 seconds out out of Norfolk on this lap, and he's got 4.2 to take out of him on the next lap in a part where Norfolk's intermediates are only going to overheat even more. He can see him. If you ride on board, you can see Norfolk turning into turn 1 right now. He's got to push. This has got to be a qualifying style lap from Maverick DC88 if he wants this victory. This is a battle of the titans. This is a battle of the strategy. As it heads into its final lap, he's taken a second out of him in Sector 1 alone. We're not even at the end of Sector 1 alone. And we've taken a second and a half now out of Norfolk. But it's catching him is one thing, passing him is another. Norfolk is going to fight for dear life, but Norfolk's tyres will be so hot right now, they will have no traction whatsoever. As you can see visibly, we're down to 1.3 seconds. This is an absolutely phenomenal battle of strategy going on here, and I think the tables have turned again, where Maverick has pulled a strategic masterclass and will just have the traction to breeze past him. Here we go with DRS then into the next corner. Will he have the grit to just send it up the inside? I think he's thinking about it. Down the inside he goes on the final lap of the race, but he goes a little bit wide, and that allows Norfolk to come back on. But does Norfolk have the traction to do battle? And I think he made the move. He did make the move, but he couldn't hold it, and I think that may give Norfolk the run. But we've still got this corner and the chicane to go, and Maverick has got all the traction in the world. This could very much be a drag race to the line. He looks to the outside, brakes a little bit, tries to get the inside, now he's forced to the outside once again. Who's got the better traction for the final corner? Contact made, and oh my god, contact made, and Norfolk has gone sideways. Norfolk has spun. Maverick DC88 will win the race, but oh my goodness, was there contact? Did Norfolk just get unfairly spun by Maverick? There was definitely contact and then a spin afterwards, but what a final lap. That would have been a drag race to the line, but there was contact, and that man Norfolk Blue was spun around. Callum J. Spencer finishes in third and sets the fastest lap of the race to boot. But oh my goodness, that was a voice box workout. What a final lap. Norfolk was spun. Was it by Maverick or was it by his dead tyres? Either way, Maverick pulls off a strategic masterclass, but at the same time is controversially in first place, and I'm sure there'll be an investigation into that for sure. But there's your running order. Maverick DC88 wins the race ahead of Norfolk Blue after they battled the whole race. Callum J. Spencer third. Super Ninja, what a race from him to come fourth place. But what a controversial finish. Let me know in the chat, people, whose fault was that? Was that the dead tyres, or was that contact between Maverick? Because either way, we're going to the podium celebrations now. Provisionally, Maverick DC88 has won the race, pending investigation into what just happened there. But either way, a strategic masterclass by Red Bull and Maverick, and he takes the trophy home, for now. At least, we have to say for now, Callum J. Spencer with another podium this season. Good effort by the Williams driver. Christian Horner looks on, probably talking about the incident. But, wow. Can you say controversy? There's your running order once again. We have penalties actually up and down the field. Callum J. Spencer, Ragnar, I believe Nemesis, and who's the other person? Let's have a look. If it will pop back up, Daniel Kvyat, which was actually Galactic Skull 2, so he had a penalty. No, sorry, I take that back. It was Gareth Lennon, wasn't it? GL8991 who had a penalty as well. But, oh my goodness. What a finish, guys. What a finish. That was an incredible race. There's your finishing results and how it went. Was that investigation brought up by the game? I think it will have to go to the genuine steward. But that has been one hell of a day's racing. I've got to go rest my voice box for the rest of the night because that was truly incredible. But thank you so much for joining us for round 5 of the championship here today, guys. Maverick DC88 provisionally wins after contact was potentially made between himself and Norfolk Blue 1234. But a strategic masterclass either way. What a last lap. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Join us next week at Sunday 8:30 PM for the Monaco Grand Prix, where things can only get even more interesting on the tightest track on the calendar. Thank you for watching, guys, and until next time, goodbye.